Do you need a financial advisor but don't know what to look for? Here are the best questions to ask when looking for the best fit. All right, so number one, do they have experience, right? Now, when I talk about experience, I mean someone who's been around the block, been through a full market cycle. Because so many financial advisors, most of them don't last beyond really the first 4 years, 3 years, sometimes 2 years. And so many newbies come out and they're in their 20s, they're young, they're hungry, and they want your money, don't they? Well, we want somebody who actually has real experience. Someone who's been around the block, I think, since at least before the last recession, or at least during the last recession. Now, that being said, it's very common that I find financial advisors that have 30 years of 1 year's experience. So what does that mean? That means that they've been around for 30 years, they've been teaching this forever, but what they learned in the first year, they just keep repeating over and over and over and over, and they never really progress beyond that, right? We don't want that. And by the way, we don't want to experience even people in the last 10 years because the last 10 years the stock market's been straight up. So they have this skewed perspective that the market's just going to keep going up, you're going to make money, and that's it. I'll give you an example. I had a neighbor who was teaching a lesson in church. He was teaching people about financial advising and what to do with your money. And many of the people in our neighborhood were actually elderly people. And he said, hey, this is what you should be doing. You should go all out in stocks. Most of your money, if not all of it, should be in stocks. And then one of the neighbors raised her hand. She was about 80 years old. She says, well, how should we diversify and allocate our money if we're older, if we're already retired? He said, you should be at least 100% in the market. Anything less would be dumb. And both my wife and I went like out loud, like, did that guy just say that? Just so you know, a financial advisor saying that could actually get himself in huge trouble. Could get fined and or lose his license and possibly jail time for saying crap like that. Because to give a blanket recommendation to people saying, hey, you should all be in the stock market, especially when they're in their 70s and 80s and they're needing the money, that's the wrong fit, the wrong advice to give, even based on compliance. And I know because I had to take those same tests, all right? That's bad to do. So they need to have good experience and not just be the ones that think the market only goes straight up because that's all they've seen. Number two, they need to be independent. This means they don't work for just one company. If they only work for Merrill Lynch, they are literally working for Merrill Lynch, not you. Okay? You want somebody who actually has an independent perspective. They're not tied down to one company. They're an independent broker if they sell mutual funds, for example, or they're just independent of all that stuff so that they're not influenced by just selling you one thing and trying to fit that square peg into a round hole because that's what they sell. So you want to make sure they're independent. Number three, you want them to be fee-based. Now, this goes against popularity because I know there's been time to time that we've talked to people saying, well, it's tough because if we hire you guys, even though we're not financial advisors in the sense, we're more anti-financial advisors, right? We're independent type of contractors or consultants in this case, but we charge a fee. And they'll say, oh yeah, but there's these other guys over here that don't charge any fee to give us advice. Well, how do they make their money? They make it on commissions, don't they? Well, if they make it on commissions, that means they have to sell certain things so that they can advise you. So they're gonna push the thing that pays them commissions. And in many cases, the most commissions. Just so you know, not all commissions are made equal. Many times there's certain companies that will pay more or less based on the type of products that they offer you. So if they're not fee-based, that means they're commission-based. Do you really want them to make advice and recommendations to you based on what pays them more versus what's actually in your best interest? No, this is why you want to do a fee-based. You don't want them to be swayed by commissions. Fee-based advising, although it's not perfect, is definitely a better route to take. This is the same thing you want with any kind of profession, right? You want to make sure that they're giving you the best, more, not unbiased advice, but advice that's based more on what's a good fit for you and your situation. All right, number four is they need to have a low risk tolerance. You don't want them gambling with your money. This is something that's hard to find, really. So many times you'll see them saying, well, hey, high risk creates high returns. If you hear one of them say high risk creates high returns coming out of their mouth, run, flee, get out, leave, don't do it. Because they're gonna tell you, hey, if you wanna make more money, take risk, gamble more. If that's the case, don't invest anything with them. Go buy a bunch of lottery tickets. Go take your $100,000 in your mutual funds, your accounts. Go buy a ton of Powerball tickets because you'll have this huge payoff if you happen to win. Oh, but you might lose everything. That's exactly how these guys work. Again, especially the ones that are younger in the business, tend to believe that you can just take high risks and everything's fine. You don't want to be in that place. If they're telling you to buy equities or buy international type of equities, like where you're investing in other countries' mutual funds or markets and things like that, bad, horrible, big risks to take. You want someone who gives low risk, because if you understand risk, that chance of loss, you want to create lowest risk possible to create the highest returns possible. And yes, it is a myth. High risk creating high returns. There are ways to have lower risk, doesn't mean no risk, but lower risk to create much higher returns than the stock market, which has really been, to put it bluntly, high risk, mediocre returns. That's really what you get. It's just not worth the payoff. Number 5, you want them to be cash flow focused. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money you have. It's about how much that money pays you. If you're in retirement, you don't really care about having this big sum of money if it doesn't pay you, correct? You want income coming in from that. They need to come from the focus of what pays you the most income from the money you have. What gives you the best leverage of that money so that you get paid regular, predictable streams of income. Unfortunately, most advisors don't do this. They're always about accumulate, grow, and it never ends. You just keep growing till finally they'll say there's enough. I had one guy come to us. He had $3 million saved up. The guy was 52 years old, did an amazing job. Some of the most money I've seen saved by someone who's about 50. $3 million saved up, and he wanted to live on $500,000 a year. Well, when he asked his financial advisor that, the financial advisor crunched some numbers there. You know, that's what a calculator looks like with a financial advisor. Okay, he's doing that. And guess what? He comes up and says, listen, if you keep saving the way you've been doing, which you've been saving about $200,000 to $300,000 a year, if you keep saving like this for the next 13 years, Mr. Client, you, by the time of age 65, might be able to pay yourself $500,000 a year. Might, okay? No cash flow focus at all. When I met with him, I said, listen, you have $3 million, even if you only earn 10% and that's paying you income, we don't even touch your principal, guess what? That's $300,000 a year today. If you reinvest that along with the $300,000 you've been saving, guess what? You'll be there in a couple years. Way different than that advice. 6, they should have a team of experts around them. One thing you want to stay away from is never, ever hire a financial advisor that's the jack of all trades. You don't want the financial advisor that's also a CPA, he's a CFP, he's a C whatever, CEO. Also, not only can do your taxes, but hey, he's an attorney too. You don't want a financial advisor that's doing all those things. You want someone who specializes in doing what they do best, which is help you make money. Sadly, financial advisors are not paid to make you more money, they're paid to sell you crap. But you want someone who does that. The team of experts, they have their own CPAs, attorneys. They might even have insurance specialists. They have people doing different things on their team that specialize in those areas so that they can bring that full package to you. This is much like a family office type of thing. How do we bring that full experience to you where those people are the experts and they're not the jack of all trades yet expert at none of them? And then the last but not least, in fact, definitely not least, this one is hard, almost impossible to find. You want your financial advisor to be financially independent. If she's giving you advice, you want to make sure that she's financially independent, that she's lived what she's preached. Or as I've heard many people say, they said, you know what, I don't even care if they make more money than me. I just want to know that they've done what I'm trying to achieve. Right? If you're trying to achieve financial independence, shouldn't you have somebody who actually has done it before? And I don't mean financially independent in the sense that they make commissions off of you, right? If you strip away their commissions, you'll find out most of them are not financially free. And I have some really good friends that are financial advisors. Great people. This is not a beating on financial advisors that they're doing things wrong. But I'll tell you, the thing that they'll say to me, but they won't say to you, is that the reason they don't quit being a financial advisor and the reason they can't retire is 1, their investments aren't doing enough. And then 2, they make so much money by managing your money that they can't get away from it, even if they think it doesn't really work. They're handcuffed based on making sometimes $500,000 or even millions a year off of your money while you're not making that money. So guys, that's the thing. You want them to be good, have good experience. They're independent in the sense that they're not tied down to one company. They're fee-based, not commission-based. They have a low risk tolerance. They believe that low risk can create higher returns. They're cash flow focused, so you have income coming in each and every month with a team of experts that specialize in areas while they focus on what they do best, and they're financially independent. Find that and you'll find the best financial advisor. Now, if you want to be able to achieve financial independence and retire early, check out this video next.